Get a roll. Hey, it's Thursday night, and it's time for Team FYN Sports, and Circuit World of East LJ presents Gilmer Bobcats Turf Talk. We want to thank Shane's Rib Shack and Pepsi for providing the meal and drink. We appreciate them. Also, we're here. Let me tell you, everybody we have with us tonight. We have head coach, Bobcats head coach Casey Wingard with us. Offensive coordinator Trey Rickman is with us here, Coach Rickman. Then on the couch for our first segment here, senior tight end number 48, Bryson Smith, and senior wide receiver number 30, Jonas Griggs. Now, before we get into this segment of Turf Talk, we're talking about 4A Region 6, and it's just that. It's time for region play. So all non-conference games are over. They're done. They're in the book. It's time to get serious. It's 4A Region 6 football. Let me give you who all is in that region and give a rundown. Pickens, Northwest Whitfield, Lafayette, Southeast Whitfield County, Heritage, and Ridgeland. The Bobcats coming off a loss to Lumpkin 23-13. They have an open week. This Friday night is open, and they'll be traveling down September 21st, 2 Fridays from now, to take on the Pickens Dragons. So this Friday night is open, and their first region game is the Pickens Dragons. Coach Wingard, let me ask you a question here. Region play is over. Before we get into the Lumpkin game, let's get into more of working on you this week. When you have an off week, first week you work on you. Second week, not that you're not paying attention to it, you start working on the opponent. Give me a rundown of non-region. What happened? I mean, didn't finish here, didn't finish there. Now Friday night, obviously, 3 times stop play
with lightning delay.
Yep. You'll never convince me that, hey, one team comes out on top of that and one team doesn't get it rolling again or whatever. But all the non-region play going into this, tell me everything that you guys have worked on, you see, and put together in this non-region segment of the season.
Well, I think building up in the beginning of the season, we had, we opened up with Fannin, and we talked and pushed physicality and focus on your assignments, everything, and through that game we were, as a group, coach and staff, we had 4 fumbles, I think, in the first half we had 4 fumbles. So building on that, taking a step forward with our team every week, building, trying to learn off the mistakes. So ball security, physicality, wrapping up on tackles, that's something that we've been preaching from the very beginning, and I felt like each game we did get a little bit better, more competitive with each game we had. And then we go to Rayburn Gap, and it comes down to a goal line stance there. And we go for 2 instead of kick it to go to overtime, all that. But a well-played game as far as offensively, assignments. Defensively, we still had some issues wrapping up and running our feet on contact, not just having our feet die, and arm tackling. So we've been preaching that a lot with that. So, and that's something that we're going to have to work on all year. And then going into Gordon Central, we kept throwing bodies in there to kind of stop the run a little bit, and offensively back and forth. And then with Lumpkin, you had the 3 lightning delays, and it seems like we were rolling, hit it fast. Started out really well, and then just kind of stalled out, had a fumble, we had some knee pad issues where we had to tape up some knee pads, and then with the 3 lightning delays, I mean, that's an hour and a half that you're in the locker room going over the same kind of thing, and get the guys pumped back up, get a good stretch, have them hit each other to go back out, and just kind of that up and down a little bit, which we preach against. We want to play even kill the whole time, and having that kind of to deal with as well. But I think together as a team, we have gotten better and taken a step forward as far as individual assignments and playing ability.
Well, I will say this: when you start looking at the scoreboard on Friday night, it doesn't reflect sometimes the power, the strength of the team. Lumpkin's a good football team. I've watched Lumpkin play this year. I have followed them, and I think they're the best team. Now, obviously, that will solve that when they play Fannin in that region, because you played Fannin and Lumpkin in that region, and I think out of the 4 games that you've played, I think that might be the toughest competitor I feel that you went up against, and you guys stayed into the game, and with the lightning strikes, I really think there was a lot of positives out of that game. Coach, the offensive coordinator here, Coach Rickman, as offensive coordinator with these guys, we haven't had you in here yet, haven't asked you some of the questions, but some of these guys, all these guys are seniors that are with us tonight. Every week we have seniors, and I like what one coach, was it Rayford? Is that his name?
Ramford, yeah.
Ramford said one night, he said, these guys have had 4 different voices whispering in their ear in 4 years. And that being said, with a large group of seniors and trying to work on a new program, and obviously, you know, trying to turn this program around, how do you feel about where you're at this year with this group?
I mean, it's one of the things that we've talked about is we don't bring up the past. I wasn't here. A lot of the coaching staff wasn't here. They've paid their price. They've paid their dues. And one of the things was we're going to start fresh, wipe the slate clean. We're going to start from square one. We're going to learn football IQ. We're going to learn our assignments, our roles. And we're going to come together as a family and just not bring up the past. We're going to move forward from here. We're going to take it one play at a time, one game at a time. That next play mentality that Coach Wingard talks about. And I've seen the guys grow. They've been very, very positive. They've been very responsive. They've been resilient through the whole deal with not having coaches during the spring, and we weren't all together until June or July.
Yeah.
And where we came from 3 months ago, we have a good football team.
I agree. You have a good football team. Let me ask you this, Bryson. Let me ask you, over the 4 games of non-conference play, you know, how do you feel as a team? And how do you feel as a team? You guys are coming together, getting ready for region football. How do you feel about the first 4 games with the team and how you're coming along?
Mainly, I think we've just realized that it's time to grow up. We've grown up a little bit over the past 4 games, and we've all realized that we can't do it by ourselves. It's a whole team thing. So it's not just one person. One person can't carry the entire team.
So do you feel in the last 4 weeks of you know, non-region play that you guys have grown together, and as a unit you're ready to walk in to play region football?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, Jonas, as a wide receiver, the same question. You're a senior. How do you feel in the first 4 games that you guys have come together? What are the positives you can highlight in the first 4 games as a unit for the team?
I think we've come together more this year than we have been, and that, I mean, we've just been practicing better and coming together as a team.
You guys went into halftime up 13. What was it the second half of last Friday night's game? Was it maybe the lightning strikes, the delay, not being able to get pumped back up? What happened in that second half? Do you feel, Bryson, that happened in that second half that you guys couldn't finish that game?
I mean, it was just a lot of adversity, of course, of the over an hour and a half in the locker room. Just having to go on that up and down roller coaster like Coach Wingard talked about.
Okay, before I get my next group in here, I got a couple more questions for Coach here. What do you guys seeing? Against Pickens? What are you guys starting? I know you're working on yourself this week. What are you guys working on this week as a unit? What are the things, corrections you're making, or what are you guys working on? And what do you see 2 weeks from now as you go down to face the Dragons?
I feel that we've switched to our focusing on the physical reps, but also the mental mistakes we have been making. We're doing all we can to limit those mistakes.
Let me ask you, Coach, what are you when you're working on yourself? What is the takeaway from 4 games? I mean, when you start putting down all 4 games and you got the legal pad, I don't know how you do it, and you're writing down all the details of all 4 games. What is the things that you say we have to accomplish this week. When we walk in the region, these kind of things need to be behind us,
Right.
and we need to put this to rest? What are some of those things?
The things that I gave the team today was we still have to work on tackling. Through the course of the Lumpkin game and the non-region games, we still had some missed tackles and some third down situations that ended up hurting us. So we're going to be focusing on that. And then assignments, like Bryson was saying, we're going to have to focus on the little things that we do, the assignment, the play, how to execute correctly, and effort. I'm going to set all the coaches here. We set the bar really high, and we're going to push them. And that's what we're constantly going to take a step better. We don't talk about the past, all that kind of stuff together, and we keep going and working on ourselves this week, looking to region play with opening with Pickens.
Guys, let me ask you this question. I ask it every week, every player that comes on. Bryson, when you left Friday night, and you went home, yourself, what did you say, when I get back to practice, this is what I got to work on? What did you critique yourself and say, I got to get better at?
When there's always room to improve, and for me, it's the mental reps. I have to be able to know exactly who to block and where to go, no matter how they line up in front of me.
How about for you, Jonas? When you came back to practice after you left Friday night, what did you say Jonas has to work on, you have to work on, and critique yourself?
I think it was more focusing on blocking on the outside and then making my routes more crisp and stuff.
Okay, as the offensive coordinator this year, new to the team, first of all, welcome to the team.
Thank you.
But how is it having the full staff and being able to have all the coaches and extra people to work with this unit?
I think it's good for the kids. We have offensive coaches that understand what the defensive coaches need from us. We gel really well. A lot of us work together in the classroom, not just on the field. So the camaraderie that we have just amongst ourselves has trickled over into the kids seeing how this is how the operation is going to be. The defensive coaches are going to hold the offensive coaches accountable, vice versa. And as an effect, we hold the kids accountable. And that family atmosphere that we've talked about, and forgetting about the past and things like that moving forward, that affects the entire program. It's not just the kids being affected. Our staff is affected by one another. We're better people for working with one another.
You're a good coach. I just always got to check on you, man.
Yeah, I'm real good.
Huh? I just got to check.
Thank you for doing that.
Hey, the one thing every show I do, I always make sure I don't get in trouble with the coach.
Oh, you're good.
Huh? I got in trouble with a coach Friday night.
What?
I can't tell you the story right now on the air.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I'm your host, VKP, and you're watching Gilmer Bobcats Turf Talk. We want to thank Circuit World at East LJ, also Shane's Rib Shack for providing the meal and Pepsi for the drinks. And don't forget, we'll tell you now, every Monday at 10 a.m. on FYNTV.com. It's that simple, FYNTV.com. Instant replay with Dave Garner, North Georgia's only live online sports show every Monday. Highlights and recapping Friday Night Football. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we're going to have two more Bobcats on the couch with us. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Ellijay, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Okay, folks, we are back, and you're watching Gilmer Bobcats Turf Talk. In this second segment, we have joining us in the second segment senior wide receiver number 42, Austin Damon, is with us here, and a regular on the show. I think he's a star of the show. He's 5 appearances now or something. Yeah, we know this guy. Senior right tackle number 76. Tyson Elliott is with us, and again, thank you, Circuit World of East LJ, Shane's Rib Shack, and Pepsi. Coach, let's go back to let's go into region play, and it's time to start. You don't want to look next game, obviously, but talk a little bit about the region on a whole, as far as some of these teams and how strong this region is this year.
I feel that this region is very strong. You've got a lot of great teams in the region, with Ridgeland, how they competed last year, and it came down to them in Jefferson, and they lost some, but they still have a lot of powerful weapons at their disposal, athletes there. And then Pickens, they've got a lot of good players that coach very well, great ball team throughout, and then you go with Northwest, who's got some, they can get out on the edge, and with, I think, Fisher now as the offensive coordinator, bringing kind of what he was doing a little bit at Lafayette to Northwest, and then Lafayette, they got a new coach, and they've been competing in their games when we've been looking at the scroll and watching the scores and everything. So a solid region, and so going forward, looking at our region, we're going to have to be able to really focus on personnel, focus on matchups, focus on anything that we think we can get the edge with.
Well, let me ask you this. You're working on yourself this week. We talked about that, but we won't see you again until after the Pickens game. What are you seeing with their team this year? Tough Pickens squad,
right.
Tough team. He's loaded, but the reality is I guess when you're going in Friday nights, can you score on somebody? And I think Friday night, White County put 35 on them.
Right.
So there are places in the defense where you can score on this team. So what are you looking at overall on Pickens as you look at film?
Yeah, when we're watching film with the kids and just for coaching staff and everything, we're looking at the personnel. We're looking at who's lined up where. We're trying to get any kind of read on anything, what they're trying to do, and adapt to that to be able to force them in a situation maybe they wouldn't want to be in. And then they're players too. The explosive offense, and they've got a good defense, and they bring the backers, and we got to be able to pick some things up. So looking at their film, they've got some great athletes. They've got some speed. We're going to have to, for us, we're going to have to hold on to the ball and just keep chopping the wood, hold on to the ball, and get that time of possession there. Keep our defense fresh, and then when we get out there, we've got to create something has to happen. We've got to create a situation to where we can get the ball back and kind of control the clock that way.
Coach, let me ask you. You guys have been in every game at different points. You've been in every game to where there could have been a difference hinging on a turnover here, a turnover there, and what do you think it's going to take for this team to just close that gap? And we were talking earlier about Fannin, 4 turnovers, and then turnovers Friday night, and different things on offense where there's missed assignments and so on and so forth. So what do you think on the offensive side of the ball you got to do to close that gap?
Definitely the turnovers. Minimize the turnovers, minimize the penalties, just being able to respond to the adversity. And that's been one of the things that we've harped on every week was, hey, we might have a bad play, we might miss a block, and that play's over with. Kind of stays in our wheelhouse of the past is the past. And we want to take the next play and play it as its own moment. I mean, every play is our individual game that we've got to have. And we've got opportunities that we haven't cashed in yet. That's one of the things that we sit down, we meet with as a staff, we sit down with the kids and we show them on film. We've got some opportunities out there that we're still waiting to cash in that we've missed. And I think we've played sound football. We've shot ourselves in the foot. As Coach Wingard said, this is a tough region. I've known it from my brother being the offensive coordinator at Northwest before, for 9.5 years with Coach Fallure. And so I've been around this. I know it's a tough week. It's a tough road every time you play, every Friday night. And so we've mentally got to be ready for those Friday nights because Pickens is going to be tough. We'll turn around. Northwest will be tough. Southeast will be tough. And then Ridgeland will be tough. We don't get an off week after this. We have a bye week, but every team we play is not an off week.
Austin, let me ask you, because we're listening to Coach here, and you're out there on the offense, wide receiver. You've had several good games. The team is playing well, but you're not closing the deal. They coach you up all week. They take you to the dance on Friday night, and they put you on the sideline, and they coach you during the game. But the team is out there. What does the team have to do to close this gap that's there? Because you guys are just 1 or 2 steps away from making some things happen. What do you see out there on the field that you guys got to do?
Well, I see that we're just playing as individuals instead of playing as a team. Everybody's trying to do their assignment and not just play as a team. Everybody's just trying to do their own thing and try to make their own kind of highlight instead of just do things sound like they're supposed to be, and then it'll, in the end, help the team.
Well, you know, I always said on the show, Coach knows for the last couple of years, is I'm never going to come on the show with you young men and talk to you any different, just straight up. And it's like, I mean, you're playing quarters,
right? And
you got to play a game. And is that what's happening? Do you see that you guys are not putting out the full game?
I believe so, because even it doesn't matter if we're up or if we're down. Our second half mentality is not the same as it should be in the first half. The first half we come out all fired up, ready to go, and the second half is just a total mood swing, whether we're up or down. It's like, I know we've had a rough past couple of 3 years, but we got to know how to finish games.
Got to play the whole game. Got to play the whole game. Tyson, what about you as the right tackle? How is the front line? You're out of non-conference play. You get ready to go into region play. How does the front line look as far as as what you see? How are you guys coming together?
I've always said that the front line is probably the closest group on the team, and I'd say going into conference, we definitely need to shore up not effort but mental mistakes. I feel like we always give the best we can do, but the best isn't good enough when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So just for me, last Friday, I was going, as hard as I could, but I let a guy slip to the line and almost sacked David. That's the kind of stuff we need to work on, is just making sure we get our assignments right.
Mr. Quay, what did Coach say that night? You want to go to Plan B?
Yeah, Plan A or Plan
B.
We don't like that.
Yeah, that's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up.
Now he's going to have nightmares.
Now you're going to have nightmares. So you don't like Plan B?
No.
Sorry about that. Well, Coach brought it up that night, right? Not me. Okay, let me ask you. Let's talk about what was just said here, Coach. What on the coaching staff, what do you guys got to do to instill in these guys? Look, you guys are playing an awesome first quarter, or you're playing an awesome second quarter, but you have to play a game. I mean, and I don't mean to be. I'm not bringing them down. I'm not trying to.
No, we've got to play the full game, and we tell them that at practice. We rep it in situations. We go over it several times, but that mentality, what's been established in the past, we've got to almost get that out of the system. We've got to get it out of these kids' system, because you look, what's been going on, and we've got to teach how to do every little thing, how to win, how to play a full game, how to do this, and that's what we spend a lot of our time. When I write a practice script up, that's what we look at with situations: how to win that fourth down situation, how to win the third down situation on defense where you've got to make that tackle, and we preach that over and over, and I feel like we're getting better and better and better each week with that as a team, but we're this close. Like we keep telling the kids, we are a good football team. We can be very great. We just got to get the water all around us, not listen to any of it, and just focus on us and keep chopping the wood and keep moving forward, and good things will happen.
Well, I was watching the scores Friday night, and when you're playing Lumpkin, and I see that you're up 13, I'm saying to myself, you know what? These guys, the Bobcats, this is a good football team, because I know Lumpkin, and they're on these guys 13.
Right.
And I guess the only way I know how to put it is when you get something like that happening, Austin, you got to push the pedal a little harder, right? Don't let off the pedal. Am I right or wrong?
Blood's in the water. Sharp circle. Blood's in the water.
If you got the foot on the pedal, don't pull off. Coach, let me ask you, going down to Pickens, because we're about out of time, but going down to Pickens, what you see with your offense that maybe you can get into their defense a little bit. Like I said, Pickens is strong. Pickens is putting up numbers, but also there has been teams score on Pickens and get in the end zone. So what are you seeing for your offense to work on that maybe you can get in their end zone in a couple weeks?
Yeah, we want to be physical. That was one of the things that we've preached to them about what Gilmer football's been known for. That's what brought us here. The physicality that Gilmer's been known for, and it's in these kids. It's almost like just trying to draw it out of them, to be able to bring that intensity, to bring that energy that they do have, that we've seen in spurts, and we need to bring that out. And we're going to do what we want to do. We want to focus on us. We don't want anybody to kind of really dictate what we do, but we're spending so much time focusing on us. Yeah, we know Pickens is a very fast and physical football team. We want to try to match that. That's what we want to do for 4 quarters.
Guys, before we close up, yes, you have to play as a team, you have to be a team, and that's where the W comes from. But when you went home, Tyson, Friday night, and you come back, critique yourself. What did you say? When I get back to practice, I have to work on this for yourself. What did you have to work on?
Personally, I saw on film that I needed to work on my footwork a little bit better. So on my pass blocks, I wasn't, I wasn't moving my feet like I should have, what I've been coached to do. And I feel like that was probably the biggest thing. Maybe staying low. That's always one of my things, needing to stay low.
Plan B.
Coach, come on, man. Guys gonna have nightmares already.
Don't have to call his parents.
Austin, let me ask you the same question. When you left Friday night and you show up Monday, you say, this is what I got to work on. As an athlete, internally, you know you got to critique yourself. What did you say I've got to work on?
Well, I know as far as on the field goes, I got to work on making my routes sharper. I noticed in the film that some of them were a little rounded. And if they're rounded, it just gives the defense a little bit of an advantage or a leg up on me. And as far as off the field, I just got to keep the team up and got to try to be a leader on the sideline and help the team finish.
You know, I asked that question because, one, I think there's a big difference when coach tells you what you need to work on versus when you come in and already know before coach says anything, I've got to work on it. So that's basically why I asked that, because there's a big difference in coach pointing it out and you pointing it out to yourself. Guys, I wish you well in 2 weeks. I know you got an off week and you're working on yourselves and your opponent next week. Thanks for being here. Coach, nice to meet you. Thanks for being here. Coach, we'll see you in 2 weeks on sideline.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, folks, we appreciate you tuning in. This is Bobcat Turf Talk. Now, don't forget, this Friday night, the Rebels, you're not the Rebels, are you? You're not going to hit me?
No.
Well, I had to do that. It was a payback because you do know I said Bobcats on their show.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
So I promised I'd roll it out one time.
You were thinking about us.
Yeah, I rolled it out one time.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Hey, folks, the Bobcats will be traveling down. It's time for Region football, and it's that time of the year. 4A Region 6 takes place. Kickoff September 21st. I think that is on a Friday night, and they'll be down at Pickens taking on the Dragons. So come down and support your Gilmer Bobcats. Again, thank you, Circuit World of East LJ, Shane's Rib Shack, and Pepsi for the meal. And don't forget Mondays at 10 a.m. I'm trying to remember what I'm doing here. Mondays, 10 a.m. on FYN TV, Dave Gardner's Instant Replay. We got to go, and we'll see you Friday night on the football field. Team FYN Sports always highlighting and promoting young athletes in a positive way.